right, all you cats and kittens out
Oh,
there.
gross.
Tonight we're talking about distance wedges. What in the hell is a distance wedge, Clay? Well, it's a half wedge shot. It's an off-speed wedge shot. It's like a 40, 50, 60, 70-yard shot where you feel like you have to improvise every time you step up and hit the shot. It's not as easy as a full swing 7-iron because you feel like you got to reinvent the wheel every time you're doing it. You got to improvise. It's like jazz instead of like a rehearsed band number that you've done a million times. So there's a few ways that you can make these distance wedges, touch wedges, a little bit easier. And I'm going to share with you a system that I developed during my time playing mini tour golf. It's a system that I've come up with. The first column is the club that I'm using. The second column is whether it's an open or a square face it's set up. And the third is the length of the backswing. The backswing has two options. It can either be B for belly button or 9 for 9 o'clock. So belly button is right here. We all know where our belly button is, so we're going to hinge at our belly button. That's option number 1. Option number 2 is hinge at 9 o'clock on the clock. A lot of people have probably heard of the clock drill, but it's kind of hard to differentiate between 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. But I find that it was doable for me in my puny brain that I could differentiate between hinging at the belly button and hinging at 9 o'clock. The tempo that you're going to use when you're hitting a distance wedge shot. When you're hitting a distance wedge, it's all about smooth. And a great way that I heard it described was it's as if you're in the car driving, taking a windy road, and you've got a cup of coffee in the center console. It doesn't have a lid in it. So you want to go ahead and do the speed limit, but you don't want to do anything too herky-jerky where the coffee's going to spill out. So when you're hitting these shots from 30, 40, 50 yards, the worst thing you can do is kind of real fast and decel or fast. You want to think nice and smooth. We've got a cup of coffee. We don't want to spill it. Nice and smooth. And that can really carry over throughout your entire game. But on distance wedges in particular, you might have seen my airplane post on Instagram where you want that airplane to not have too many steep banks or barrel rolls. It's the same kind of idea as the coffee cup thing. Especially off the ball, you want it nice and smooth. That's going to give you the best chance of delivering the club face the way you want to deliver it. And you're not going to have a bunch of lag. You don't want lag in a touch wedge shot. It's almost like a big controlled chip shot. The less lag, the better. The less hinge, the better. You want it to be very predictable. Tour pros are unbelievable at hitting their numbers. If you sit here and tell them, hit me a 30-yard shot, they have a system, like I'm about to describe to you. It's either a feel system or it's a clock system. But if you say, hit me a 30-yard shot, they're going to go, whoop, pop, got it. Hit me a 70-yard shot. Okay, well, got it. But if you take the average amateur and you say, hit me a 50-yard shot, it's like, first you're trying to figure out how far 50 yards is, and then you might have a rough visualization of what that looks like. And then it's, like I said, it's just kind of improv jazz, it just comes out of nowhere. Let's look at our first number of the night. For me, I'm not saying this is exactly how to do it, but I spent hours and hours out on the range with these alignment sticks in the ground in 10-yard increments out on the range. And so I would know I'm landing at 20 yards. Now I'm landing at 30 yards. I would stake these things in and work my way all the way up until 130 yards. 130 yards because once I get to 140 yards, that's a full pitching wedge for me. So, like I said, first number of the night is 20. So it's L is for lob wedge, O is for open face, and B is for hinge at the belly button. And I'm just now remembering, I forgot the last part of the column. So this is going to be new for everyone. All right, so LOB plus, we're going to grip down to the steel. So full choke. would be a 20-yard shot. And I'm going to hinge at the belly button and go all the way to mid. Belly button, mid. And with a normal golf ball, I promise you, that'd go exactly 20 yards. 30 yards. We're going to keep everything the same. Open face, lob wedge. We're hinging at the belly button. But how do we change from 20 yards to 30 yards without changing the speed of the swing? Well, last time I was choked onto the steel. This time I'm coming halfway up the grip. This is a mid choke. So I'm going to go belly button, midnight. That should be 30 yards. 40 yards, open club face. We're going to hinge at the belly button all the way up to midnight. We're using the lob wedge, but I'm going to move. My variable this time is the length of the club, so I'm going to go all the way up the club. This is a 40-yard shot. 20 was here, 30 was here, here's 40, all the way up the club. Belly button, midnight. And that would go 40 yards in 1 inch. 50, all right, that's an L for lob wedge, S for square face, B for belly, L for lob wedge, S for square face. Instead of having the club face open to add loft, now we're square. L for lob wedge, S for square, B for belly, and the last variable is full choke. This would be a 50-yard shot. Belly button, midnight. All right, so how do we go from 50 to 60 yards? If this is 50, I'm going to pop it all the way up to the top of the grip for 60. Everything else stays the same. Lob wedge, square face, belly button, midnight. 70 yards is lob wedge, square face. Now we introduce a new variable. Are you ready for this?
Heck yes.
Lob wedge, square face, full grip, full choke. And now instead of belly button hinge, y'all ready for this? We're going 9 o'clock hinge. Can you believe it?
Hardly.
All the way to 9 o'clock, up to midnight. And that might be the first one. Oh, just stayed inside the yard. 70 yards. 80 yards. This is my favorite number. As you do this, you're going to find your favorite number. This is lob wedge, square face, full grip, 9 o'clock. Here we go. Whoa, baby, I can't get them out of here even if I try.
Good.
90, we go to 56 with a square face. We're going to stay at 9 o'clock for the rest of this example. 100 yards, square face, 9 o'clock, full grip. 110, we're going up to a gap wedge, full choke for 110, full grip for 120, and then 130, we're looking at pitching wedge, 9 o'clock, full choke. That gives us pitching wedge, 9 o'clock, full grip at our full swing of 140. I'm going to grab 3 more balls and show you how to control your trajectory on distance wedges. So if you want to hit it low, long story short, ball position a little bit further back, and you want to finish low. All those other ones I was hitting before was kind of middle stance, or normal swing for a medium trajectory. And then if you really want to get crazy with it and hit it ultra high on your distance wedge shot, if you got to carry it 50 yards over a bunker and land it nice and soft, you want to move the ball position slightly forward towards your left toe. You might want to open up that face just a little bit. And then the last piece of the pie is swing and finish nice and high. You want to hit it high, finish high.